Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me on Berets, and today we got some new Final Fantasy Brave Exvius news on the JP side, and while it's not official yet, most of the details are in, and since next week is Golden Week and basically no one's going to be working in Japan this weekend. Okay, that's not entirely true, but for the most part, the data should be solid enough to talk about in general context. So I'm going to talk about it in general context, and if anything changes, I'll talk about it later. But today, we got to talk about Bahamut, the series boss battle, and King... Oh, never mind, just new Noctis. So, yeah. I was in Final Fantasy IX, but apparently I was 2 months too early, and now we are getting the Final Fantasy XV event as our next Mog King. This is good news for anybody who has been waiting for Final Fantasy XV to show up. Now you are going to be getting a new version of Noctis, which is pretty cool. I think Noctis is a character that a lot of people have wanted his CG for a bit now, and we've been stuck in so many of the early Final Fantasies that it's nice to see something a little bit more current. Although 7, 8, and 9 are never going to show up at this rate. So, there you go. But, is there anything really good? Well, of course, what has been added to the game is Bahamut, and Bahamut is burstable. Let's say it that way. He has about 240 million HP, he has 50% natural element resistance, but he seems to be fully breakable. He seems to like Dispel, and the other thing that is really worth noting about him is that he is just pretty damn strong, and so long as you keep Dispel up and everything, you should be, well, you should be good anyway. Should be. But yeah, so that is basically kind of the thing about Bahamut. The other thing to note is you do not need to fight him with a rat's tail. You do not need to get a rat's tail at all. You can basically just go in and fight him anytime you want. I would do it now, but I'm not going to, because I'm saving that for my live stream, which is starting in about 15 minutes. By the time this is uploaded, it will be up. The series boss battle is the other thing to be noted, because the big thing about the series boss battle is that FF3 characters are getting a boost from it, and the important thing about that is that there is a certain most powerful character in the game right now who is CG Onion Knight. CG Onion Knight is just the most powerful character in the game, and therefore kind of something to be feared, and he gets a fair amount of good stuff, which I'm just... Huh, that's interesting. It's not popping up for me. Damn computer problems. Onion Knight is just a powerful character. He is risen to the top very quickly as the most powerful character on the JP side for chaining, and that is above Chair Rain as well. So that says a lot, just because he is so damn powerful. And his new abilities that he gets as a unlock, there he is. His passive will give him 30% extra fire, water, wind, and earth resistance. He was already pretty good for that, and 50% more true dual wield. So that is a really big benefit already to him. But his new cooldown ability that he gets available turn 5 on a 5-turn cooldown is a Stardust Ray chaining back-loaded damage with a high percentage. The final hit being 750%, ignoring 50% defense. Not only that, but it gives a 200% modifier to all of his abilities permanently. That's pretty good. To have just the permanent up on his attack is just really, really, really strong. So Onion Knight got even stronger than he already was, and he was already pretty damn strong to begin with. The other character, of course, that I think is kind of notable for the moment in the series boss battle is Cloud of Darkness. Her cooldown ability is a self 100% MP recovery plus 100% magic break resistance for 5 turns, 300% modifier to some of her abilities, for 6 turns on a 10-turn cooldown. So it powers up a whole bunch of other stuff with a pretty big modifier boost, as well as not being able to debuff for magic breaking. And by doing the quest, you'll also get a brand new passive, 20% HP, 50% limit burst fill rate, 50% magic, either true dual hand or true dual wield, and an extra 50% magic damage killer against humans. So yeah, she already had a ton of that, but now she's going to be even stronger. She should be ridiculous in the series boss battle, and pretty damn good for the future against any human with a magic weakness. Oof. But of course, that is not what everybody is here to talk about. Everybody is here to talk about this guy. And where is it? Let's just bring up... There it is. So our first thing, say hello to the Noctis Step-Up banner. The Noctis Step-Up banner is a Summon Fest banner, of course. I mean, you shouldn't be surprised about this even a little bit. The Noctis Step-Up banner is just another Summon Fest banner, meaning that Noctis, CG Noctis, will not be able to be UOC-able. You will have to pull him with either tickets or Lapis, and that is the only way to get him. It is the standard stuff that we always see. Summon Festival rate ups for Noctis, 5% rate. However, it should be noted that Alum has put a nice little screw job on this one. As you can see, King Rain is there. Yes, King Rain is sharing the banner with him. The last step, you have either a 50% chance to get Noctis or a 50% chance to get King Rain. This is a dick move. This is a big dick move. Thank you, Alum, for not being kind on Golden Week and being as shitty as possible. So yeah, the banner looks to have up rates for both Noctis as well as CG King Rain, so woof. Kind of a hard one to recommend. You get a rainbow on step 3. You can go multiple times. You also get your guaranteed on step 5. But yeah, this is a tough one. If you're like me and you already have 7-star Chair Rain, this is probably a pretty easy pass. And Noctis is not even the same type of character as Chair Rain. So while we're talking about that, I realized that no, I did not want to go there. I just want to use an arena orb, or whatever orb. Anyway, so the Mog King is going to be FF15, and as you all know, on the JP side now we get free 5-star base characters that are slightly less powerful than some of the current meta characters that we see on the JP side. And this month we will be getting Gentiana for free. Gentiana is a Ice Mage character. Her Trust Mastery, a 22 defense, 46 magic, 32 spirit, 20% ice resistant robe. Pretty solid robe, actually. And a Super Trust Mastery is a 50% magic materia with some other unknown effect at the time of this recording. So that something's, I guess, is missing in the data. Might be killer, might just be ice resistance, but either way, it's a 50% magic materia. I'm not going to say no to it. Looking at her passives, she's not the most powerful mage by any means, but she should be pretty good. She can equip whips, rods, daggers, as well as staffs. Her equipment selection isn't great, and she is basically an ice chaos wave chainer. She also has, interestingly, a 10-hit AoE ice chain attack, which I'm very curious if that is Stardust Ray or some other frames. It's not listed as... It's listed as a chain, but it's not listed as anything particular for a chain. She has ways to provide break resistance. She can provide AoE, fire, ice, and lightning resistance for 2 turns to the party. She has big ice hits. She has debuffing of ice for about, at the current time of recording, 65%, which isn't bad. She can give some ice resistance. She can also debuff AoE ice resistance to the enemy for 100% on one of her cooldowns, which is a 5-turn cooldown available turn 1. Also enables, looks like, Quadra casting for 3 turns. And she's got, in her 7-star, a big ice 5-hit attack that also fills the summon gauge. That is a 4-turn cooldown on available turn 4. So she has some nice stuff in her kit. I actually kind of like Gentiana a lot. I'm sure it has nothing to do with Ice Mage. She can increase summon damage. Okay, without getting too much into spoilers. She has 7% MP recovery per turn, and she has a whole bunch of other nice stuff, including Limit Burst damage up for herself. Her Limit Burst also AoE 17 hit ice 3000 magic attack that enables quadricasting for 3 turns. So I think she'll be a really great little free-to-play mage. She's going to be really nice. She has some chaining abilities. She can Chaos Wave Chain. If she can Stardust Ray, then she's even better than I have stated, but I really like Gentiana as a free unit as of the time of this recording, provided that the numbers haven't changed completely. Because, you know, official data and bullshit like that. But I know what you're all thinking. Let's talk about the king. Well, not himself yet. Let's bring out... Oh god, it's Kenny! Oh no! Kenny! Don't attack with the fish! Oh my god! Yes, Kenny is a 4-star. For anybody who knows Final Fantasy 15 and some of the DLC and whatnot that has happened in the game, Kenny is kind of this mascot. I want to talk about Kenny really quickly. Kenny is a 4-star on the banner. And first of all, this Limit Burst animation is awesome. But the other thing is that he seems to be a provoke unit, which, if you know, there's kind of a little bit of hate on Kenny. Kenny's been like a bit of a joke and whatnot in the FF15 scheme. But yeah, pretty cool little 4-star. I also should talk really quickly about his TMR, which I've just totally blanked on. Close 38 defense, 22 spirit with a 20% attack and defense when equipped with a sword, and resist poison 100%. So it's kind of a neat little item that gives some attack and defense up, decent amount of defense and spirit too, and some poison resistance. So kind of cool. Bonus when equipped with a sword, I should say. But that's maybe good for some tanks. I actually kind of like Kenny. Kenny's a DPS, but that Limit Burst animation. And here he is. This is the guy you've been waiting for. 7-star Noctis with his supremely awesome sprite. And you may be curious, who is Noctis like? Who does he resemble most in the entire game? Well, thankfully I have this character, and I can show him or her off. Noctis, CG Noctis, is basically our new version of Regina. He keeps a lot of stuff from his old kit, but also changes to his new kit. And again, all of these numbers are subjective to change. There, I've covered my ass. Trust Mastery, 40% attack, 40% magic, and a 1.3 times limit burst up attack materia. I really like this materia. If there's ever a hybrid that is any kind of a limit burst damager, Noctis's TMR is just nuts. And thankfully, Noctis's super TMR is even more insane, and this time will not be made fun of because it is a sword, 174 attack with plus 100 MP, but more importantly, it has a 1.5 up limit burst damage. Now, at the time of this recording, I do believe that it is not Noctis exclusive. If it is, then the Super TMR takes a hit, except for Noctis, of course. If it's available for everyone, this Super TMR sword is fucking insane. Woof. Noctis also has pretty darn good equipment options for weapons, not so great options for armor. With passives and whatnot, his attack is pretty high. It's pretty good, but really, I mean, he has really great defense and even better spirit defense and really great HP, which is all things that Regina was kind of lacking. And that brings the point that Noctis is basically kind of a tankier version of Regina with an incredibly powerful limit burst and a much more confusing kit. His limit burst is an AoE 20 hit, 1,850% physical attack, ignoring 50% defense, much in the same way of Regina. And in his kit, he has a pentacasting ability where he can 5-cast some of his abilities, much in the same way that Regina does. So he powers up, he charges up his limit burst, he lets loose a powerful attack, all in one turn, and the following turn he will limit burst. This makes Noctis just a bigger version of Regina, but looking at his kit, it's kind of weird. He has some really powerful attacks, some provoking ability, he has some power himself up, as well as provide elemental resistance for the party for 3 turns. He has evade attacks, which is kind of interesting. He has comeback still. He has some debuff skills. He has some self-buff skills, too, on one of his cooldowns. He has Quintcast 3, which is this ridiculously long thing, which basically is kind of his elemental hybrid attacks, which also either cause, elemental effects, or stop, or, that fun stuff in Arena that you really like. Anyway. And then he just has his kind of big modifiers up for using a whole bunch of his abilities, getting ready for his big limit burst damage. But interestingly, he does have killers in his kit, both against fairy as well as human and demon. So again, Noctis is basically kind of just a new version of Regina with, just some changes to her. But, yeah, I think Noctis could be really strong, but trying to figure out his kit at this point seems a little confusing. Basically, if you remember how big Regina is, there's a really big chance that Noctis is going to be just absolutely amazing. Noctis also still has his, depending on what you equip him with, it changes the way his stats are, which means that, if you're equipping him for if you're trying to fit him for certain trials, then equipping a spear, for example, will give him attack and spirit. So that's really good if you're trying to gear out for a specific trial, and there are already some strong spears in the game anyway. Plus, equipping a spear lets him wield 2 weapons. So I think Noctis is going to be forever a spear user. And to that point, Noctis is a true dual-wield character. I think the best set you're kind of looking at is probably a greatsword and a spear, both single-handed. Although a sword gives him 5% MP recovery, so I don't know. There's a lot of options here of how you will build this guy, and that's kind of nice. He has natural 20% chance to dodge physical attacks, 10% chance to evade magical attacks, 30% chance to counter with physical attacks. He has natural killers in his kit. Natural elemental resistance to fire, ice, and lightning. He gets true dual wield just for, being a dual wielder. He can double cast stuff in his kit. He has increased summon damage, 30% Esper stats. He has his pentacasting, which gives him, access to that hard limit burst. He gets his limit burst at the start of battle. He has an extra 5% natural MP recovery anyway, whether you have a sword equipped or not. And then he just has some big modifiers for getting up to level 120, which you're probably going to do anyway. Noctis is really hard at this point to pin down whether he is just going to be game-breaking or if he's just okay. The fact that he's put on a banner with King Rain is kind of great for anybody who is just starting the game. I mean, you're either going to get an amazing limit burster or you're going to get an amazing limit burst finisher. Noctis is a popular enough character as well that I think he will be probably really liked in the sphere of the game, and he'll probably be the new Regina. Regina just isn't quite tanky enough to survive a lot of the newer fights since the damage just keeps getting upped a lot. So Noctis is a welcome upgrade to the idea of the chain finisher. And he's in the realm of true dual wield too, so I think that there is a lot of really strong potential here for Noctis to be not just great, but to be absolutely amazing. So, as for me, I have a really hard time recommending this banner for anybody who went and got King Rain, especially King Rain's Super TMR already. It's a dangerous banner to go on, so maybe you'll want to throw some tickets at it first if you're really big into Noctis. But there's no doubt in my mind that both Noctis and his Super TMR could be absolutely nuts long-term, providing certain things fall into place. So I give Noctis a big thumbs up, or if no other reason than, well, Regina was pretty good at the time, but you may want to just wait and see how some final details end up being. Still, that is all for now, because I am going to be going on to a live stream right away. So all of you guys, let me know what you think of King... Damn it! It's not King Noctis. CG Noctis. Are you interested? Will you be going for him? I'm trying to fight temptation, to be totally honest right now. Plus that Sprite, that 7-star Sprite, man, is just... woof. Amazing. Should be noted that I think at this time also, I think CG Onion Knight is still the top DPS, but Noctis is a different type. Anyway, that's all for now. See you next time.